Hi, this is Amardeep with State Realty and Mortgage. And today I'd like to talk about what is the right way of making a deposit, what we call earnest money deposit. Uh, and that is, basically the first step. When you sign a contract as a home buyer, you promise, you have a good faith to the seller that you're making, initial deposit as a process, continue with the loan and your inspection and so forth. So we're not going to talk about the legality, what happened if you fail into the contract, you fail to remove contingency or fail to do your part, what would happen to the EMD, that we'll talk about, in a separate. But this is a basic first step of in the contract. And why it's important to do this correct way and not jeopardize your contract or a relationship with seller or the seller agent. So we have a similar situation that we fail to inform the buyer, what is the right way of doing it. So we should assume the buyer doesn't have no idea how this works. As a professional agents, we should inform them upfront. So we found out later in the process when we were doing the loan that there was a big cash deposit in the borrower's account, and that cash deposit the client used to make the deposit, the earnest money deposit. Now, if you have the cash deposit and you don't have a paper trail, then it's a useless money. So the money needs to be seasoned for 2 months. So if you are making, if you have a deposit, the money need to be sit there for 2 months. What we call seasoned. So basically, what happened? Then now, client had budgeted, for his down payment, and now if underwriter or the lender say, hey, we cannot use this 5,000, which was a cash deposit. It was eventually, I think that the person has some money, what we call, under the mattress savings, which was all legal money. And he just, when time came, to make a deposit, he just went to the bank and make a, cash deposit. And next day, he made a initial deposit. But there's no paper trail for that cash deposit. The money was not sitting over there for 2 months. So we failed the seasoning part. Now we failed the cash deposit. So that money was useless. So basically, if you have cash, we cannot use that. You can write down a check. You can have a cashier check. Those are two acceptable ways of doing an EMD, earnest money deposit. The requirement is 2 months. 2 months. The money that your saving account or the checking account should have that money saved for 2 months, seasoned, what we call it. So in our example, the guy did not, wasn't prepared. He didn't have the money in the bank, and that's what happened. But let's say example, you have the money sitting there, let's say 10,000, and you need a cashier check for 3,000. The money sitting over there, that's perfectly. You can use a check, you can use the cashier check. Now, I'm talking about maybe 40% of the people who just suddenly like the home and they're not prepared and they didn't have the money, but they want to buy a home, they want to deposit. What do we do with those people? So I'm not advocating, oh, this is a loophole. I'm just saying this is the guidelines as part of Fannie Mae, which allows this. And the best way of depositing a EMD or any other down payment, which is not seasoned, which is not in your bank, how we can use that. And you can use it through a donor. So, so let's say you want to buy a home, you have a cash saving, but you have donor, you have family members, who may be able to help you out, and they can wire the money directly to the title company, and we are not going to ask any paper trail. No document is required if the wire is coming from a donor. So donor, wire, donor. That is the best way of EMD. That is the best way of depositing your down payment. I seen a customer recently. The guy works in a farm, and but the father wants to help, and they were buying like a 300,000. The father deposited 60,000 a wire into the title company, and there was no paperwork required. We did not ask for any bank statement for the donor, for the father. So these are the guidelines which allows that you can use the donor funds. In that case, the father, father is acceptable donor for the son to do that. So all we need a wire receipt. When you do a wire, you go to the bank, they will give you a receipt. So that is all document we need. It takes about $10-20, and make sure you deposit to the title company. So title company has, ask your agent, hey, I'm going to deposit. I think I'm going to use the donor method, and so get the title company wiring instruction. Okay, just keep in mind, you don't just go and write a check or cashier check to the title company, because the agent told, oh, this is the address, for 123 Laguna Boulevard, North American Title Company. No, you need a wiring instruction. You need a wiring instruction. That's how you're gonna have the donor wire it. So wiring instructions means a bank which title company use their routing number, their account number. That's all it is. So you need those routing number and account number for the title company's bank account information. So you go to your bank, tell them, hey, this is the money. Have donor. Donor goes there and do that. Now you may say, okay, well that's good. Now who would be the donor, right? So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, all these underwriting guidelines, I think they had made this requirement a very, very flexible. So if we go through the list, you can see there's a lot of people could be donor. We may just think, oh, donor could be just, mom and dad, or, my brother or sister. And, sometimes we say family members, right? That is the term we use in underwriting. But if you look at through the list, there's a lot of people could be donors. They are all family members, but let's look into it. Fiance, spouse, this is obvious. Domestic partner, child, parents, grandparents, and even in child, we have a stepchild, could be adopted, could be foster child. So it doesn't could be, there is a exceptions. Same thing with the parents, and not just your own, parents, your blood parents, I guess, but it could be your step parents, right? It could be your foster parents, those are acceptable. And same thing with the grandparents. Again, step grandparents, adopted grandparents, foster grandparents. In-laws, future in-laws. And sometimes I see that pretty common, a young family want to buy a home and they're not married, but, future in-laws can also could be a donor. Siblings, that's pretty straightforward, aunt, uncle, great uncle, uh, cousins, steps adopted, and nephew, niece, again steps, step nephew, step Nancy, step niece. So those are the list. Again, uh, what we have to do, have the donor wire to the title company. So that is the best method of depositing initial deposit as well as any deposit, down payment. But if there's any question or concern, please call us 916-712-2735. I would recommend all agents to share this video to your clients, to your borrowers. Don't assume the first time buyer, near time buyer, or the move up, and they, like a move up buyer, they already knew this. They probably bought a home like 7 years ago, and the whole guidelines probably have changed. So you need to share this so there is no misunderstanding. Otherwise, if there's a delay because of this simple process, it won't. It's not good. For either parties, and there's a possibility. The contract may fail. All right, appreciate that. Thank you very much.